A mystery that dates back millennia. Advanced radar mapping under Egypt's pyramids. They claim to have discovered wells, caverns, and shafts.
What if the Great Pyramid was never just a tomb, but a coded machine built for the gods? From cryptic hieroglyphs in sealed-off rooms to ships buried for eternity and shafts aligned with the stars, the evidence is stacking up, and fast. Today, we journey into the 20 mind-blowing discoveries in the Giza pyramids. Hidden chamber above. Something huge is hiding inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, and no one knows what it is. Back in 2017, a team of scientists pulled off one of the wildest ancient discoveries of our time. Using cutting-edge tech called muon radiography, basically cosmic ray scanning, they spotted a massive secret space buried inside the Great Pyramid. We're talking a void over 100 feet long, just chilling above the Grand Gallery. And here's the kicker. Nobody has a clue why it's there, or what it was meant for. Like, for real? After thousands of years of digging, studying, and theorizing about this wonder of the ancient world, was something this big still hiding in plain sight? Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't just some storage space or tunnel. The so-called Big Void is completely sealed off, untouched, and totally unreachable with today's gear. Archaeologists, engineers, and even Egyptologists are straight up stumped. Some folks think it might have been built to relieve pressure from the chamber below. Others are getting bold, suggesting secret burial rooms, ancient star alignment chambers, or straight-up lost knowledge from a forgotten civilization. And here's where things get even more insane. There's zero evidence of how or why this giant chamber was constructed. No tools, no markings, no texts. Just a blacked-out mystery sitting smack in the heart of one of the world's oldest megastructures. So here's the real query. What were the ancient Egyptians hiding up there? Secret hallway found. In 2023, archaeologists uncovered a hidden 30-foot-long corridor tucked right above the main entrance of the Great Pyramid. Like, how does something that big stay hidden for over 4,500 years? That's no small crack in the wall. It's a full-blown passage carved into the heart of one of the world's oldest and most iconic structures. So how'd they find it? Advanced scanning tech, again. This time, it was part of the Scan Pyramids project. Basically, a squad of high-tech explorers using non-invasive tools to peek inside without damaging anything. And boom! They hit on this hollow space just behind the pyramid's chevron blocks. Now here's where it gets real interesting. No one knows exactly why it was built. Some experts think it might have been part of a weight-relieving system to keep the structure from collapsing in on itself. Makes sense, right? But others are asking, could it be connected to something else? The craziest part? It's sitting right above the main entrance. The 1 millions of tourists walk past every year. That's like hiding a whole hallway above your front door and never noticing. This discovery isn't just about a new space. It's flipping the script on what we thought we knew about how the pyramid was engineered. The precision, the mystery, the sheer genius of it all, still blowing minds in 2025. Underground anomaly uncovered. Just when you think the Great Pyramid has revealed all its secrets, boom, another jaw-dropping twist hits the headlines. In May 2024, scientists discovered something absolutely bonkers beneath the sands near the Great Pyramid. 2 hidden underground structures totally connected and totally unknown until now. We're talking a massive L-shaped anomaly stretching over 30 feet, plus a second chamber right nearby. And no, these aren't natural formations. They've got structure, design, and intention written all over them. But here's the kicker. No one knows what they were used for. Were they burial chambers? Storage vaults? Secret ritual spots? Or maybe entrances to something even deeper below? The possibilities are kinda endless. And totally nuts. What's even wilder is how close this is to the Great Pyramid itself. Like, these hidden spots were right there, buried under centuries of sand, just waiting to be found. And with no surface markers or ancient writings pointing to them, this whole thing came straight out of the blue. Experts say this could change everything we thought we knew about how the pyramid complex was laid out. Maybe there's a whole network of underground passages just waiting to be discovered. So yeah, the deeper we dig, the wilder it gets. If 2 unknown structures are sitting this close to the pyramid, what else is lurking underneath? This ain't just archaeology. It's a full-on mystery unraveling right beneath our feet. Heat signature mystery. Here's one that'll really mess with your head. Because the Great Pyramid is literally heating up with secrets. Infrared thermography, that high-tech heat detecting stuff, was used to scan the Great Pyramid's surface. And guess what? It picked up some seriously strange hot spots. Now, before you say sunlight, hold up. These anomalies were found at the base of the pyramid, in the eastern section, where everything should be cooling off evenly. But these blocks? They're either way hotter or colder than the ones around them. That's not just weird, it's downright sketchy. So what's causing it? Well, scientists are throwing out a few ideas. Maybe there's a different construction material in that section. Or maybe, just maybe, there's an undiscovered chamber behind those stones. Yeah, you heard that right. A hidden room, still sealed after thousands of years, giving off just enough thermal difference to raise some serious eyebrows. And get this anomaly isn't small. It covers 3 stones, all reacting differently to the temperature scan, almost like there's a hollow space behind them. Could this be the entrance to something ancient that we've never laid eyes on? Nobody knows for sure. But one thing's clear. The Great Pyramid isn't done messing with us. Hidden glyph clues. Inside chambers of the Great Pyramid that were totally off limits for thousands of years, archaeologists uncovered something insane. Red-painted hieroglyphic inscriptions, untouched and hidden from the world. Until now. And no, this isn't your average tourist attraction carving. These are legit, ancient messages from the builders themselves. So what do they mean? That's the million-dollar question. Some experts believe these markings could be linked to the pyramid texts, which are some of the oldest known religious writings in human history. Think spells, prayers, and rituals designed to guide pharaohs into the afterlife. Yeah, heavy stuff. But what's wild is where they found them. These chambers were never meant to be seen again. Sealed up during construction, no easy access, no daylight. This raises a big question. Why would the builders go out of their way to paint symbols in a space no one would ever enter? Some say it was a sacred act, a final blessing. Others think the hieroglyphs might contain clues about the actual construction process or even the pyramid's deeper purpose. Could they be revealing ancient engineering secrets we've been trying to crack for centuries? One thing's for sure. This find isn't just cool, it's next level important. These red symbols might finally bridge the gap between myth, religion, and raw engineering genius. Ancient tech theory. What if the Great Pyramid wasn't just a tomb, but a massive machine? A growing number of researchers are now flipping the script with a wild new theory. The Great Pyramid of Giza may have been designed using advanced knowledge of airflow, pressure, and fire-based energy. Yeah, this thing could have been an ancient power system, not just a giant stone triangle. This modern take dives deep into the layout of the pyramid, especially those mysterious shafts and chambers. Turns out they're not so random. Some researchers believe they were engineered to regulate air movement, control pressure, and possibly even trigger chemical reactions. Sounds crazy? Maybe not. Check this. Evidence shows heat damage and chemical residue in certain shafts. Plus, the precision-cut stonework suggests a level of engineering that's way ahead of its time. Combine that with potential ventilation systems, we're talking about serious knowledge of air dynamics. Add fire or a reaction source, and boom, you've got the basics of an energy-producing structure. Some even suggest the pyramid functioned like a giant resonator, turning natural energy into something powerful. Water from underground chambers, chemical mixing, airflow, it all starts sounding less like myth and more like legit ancient science. Now, not everyone's buying it. Traditional scholars still hold tight to the tomb theory. But this air and fire concept, it's getting attention and fast. Granite sarcophagus. What if I told you the Great Pyramid of Giza wasn't just a tomb for a pharaoh, but something far more advanced? Let's talk about the so-called sarcophagus in the king's chamber. Unlike other burial sites, this massive granite box has no inscriptions, no decorations, and no sign it ever held a mummy. So what was it really for? Some researchers believe it was actually a biosand water filter designed to soften water and control scale buildup. Imagine this. Ancient Egyptians used it to purify water for an evaporative cooling system within the pyramid itself. Sounds futuristic, right? But it gets even weirder. Salt encrustations were found inside the pyramid, up to ½ an inch thick, before they were removed in 1998. That's a classic sign of evaporative cooling at work. And then, there's the antechamber, which may have acted as a drying room for ropes used in the pyramid's internal mechanics. Here's the big question. If the sarcophagus wasn't originally placed in the king's chamber, where was it used? Clues suggest it was positioned near the Grand Gallery, precisely where an operational water filtration system would make the most sense. But why would the ancient Egyptians need a water filtration system inside a pyramid? Some speculate it was linked to an evaporative cooling process, possibly turning the pyramid into a massive power generator. Sounds crazy, right? But the bent pyramid of Sneferu, Khufu's father, had a similar setup, suggesting this was no accident. Were the pyramids actually high-tech installations rather than tombs? Sphinx Vault Debate. Is there a lost library of ancient knowledge buried beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza? That's the million-dollar mystery that sparked decades of fierce debate, and it's nowhere near settled. The theory centers around the Hall of Records, a rumored underground chamber said to hold sacred texts, advanced science, and possibly even records from a long-lost civilization like Atlantis. The idea blew up in the 20th century, pushed by mystic Edgar Cayce, who claimed this vault would one day be uncovered when the world was ready. Now here's where things get real. Ground-penetrating radar has detected strange voids and cavities beneath the Sphinx. These aren't random little gaps. We're talking significant underground anomalies right where Cayce said the hall would be. Sounds like a smoking gun, right? Not so fast. Mainstream Egyptologists argue there's zero hard evidence to back the claim. No artifacts, no inscriptions, and no confirmed chambers. They chalk the radar data up to natural erosion or old restoration shafts. And yeah, Egyptian authorities have shut down any unauthorized digging fast. But the mystery won't die. Why are there blocked-off areas beneath the Sphinx? Why is access so restricted? And with all the new tech being used around Giza, muon scanning, thermal imaging, and more, how long before someone finally uncovers what's really down there? Is the Hall of Records a lost vault of human history? Or just one of the greatest myths still standing? Whatever the truth is, the Sphinx isn't talking, and that silence keeps the world watching. Tombs of the builders. Time to crush a major myth. Because the whole slaves built the pyramids thing? Yeah, that's not how it went down. Archaeologists digging near the Great Pyramid uncovered the actual tombs of the workers who built it. And the findings? Game-changing. These weren't slave graves tucked away in secret. They were honored burials just steps from the pharaoh's eternal resting place. That alone speaks volumes. We're talking about real laborers, organized in rotating crews, likely made up of farmers during the off-season. These folks were skilled, fed well, like legit meat and bread daily, and even received medical treatment. Some had healed injuries that showed serious care. That ain't how you treat slaves. The tombs date back over 4,000 years, and inside, researchers found pottery, tools, and food remains, clear signs of respect and ritual. The workers were buried with honor, not tossed aside like property. That's huge. It shows the pyramid wasn't just a monument to royal ego. It was the result of teamwork, pride, and serious dedication. These builders weren't forced. They were part of something bigger, something legendary. Cosmic blueprint uncovered. The Great Pyramid isn't just an ancient wonder. It's basically a stone-built space flex. Here's the scoop. Researchers have confirmed that the pyramid is aligned with freakish precision to true north, south, east, and west, like laser precision, off by just a tiny fraction of a degree. And remember, this was done 4,500 years ago. No GPS, no high-tech gear, just brain power and some seriously dialed-in skywatching. But it gets deeper. Studies suggest the layout of the three Giza pyramids might actually line up with the stars of Orion's belt. That's not a coincidence. In ancient Egyptian belief, Orion was tied to Osiris, the god of the afterlife. So, building the pharaoh's final resting places in sync with the stars? That was their way of locking in an eternal connection to the heavens. How'd they figure it out? Some say they used the rising and setting of stars, others think they tracked the shadow of the sun during the equinox. Either way, their alignment game was next level. So yeah, while we're out here struggling with IKEA instructions, these legends were syncing up 6 million ton pyramids with the freaking universe. Was it architecture? Was it astronomy? Or was it both? Perfectly blended in a way we're only just starting to understand. Whatever the answer, one thing's clear. The ancient Egyptians weren't just building for Earth, they were building for the stars. This new discovery in the Giza pyramids shocks the world overnight, and what they found beneath the sands feels straight out of a movie. A hidden chamber, sealed for thousands of years, contains a massive machine unlike anything from ancient Egypt. Is this the missing link to lost technology, or something far more mysterious? What power has been sleeping beneath the pyramids all this time? Drop your thoughts below. Building the impossible. How did ancient Egyptians pull off the greatest construction flex in human history without cranes, concrete, or bulldozers? That's the puzzle researchers have been grinding on for decades. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built with over 2 million limestone blocks, some weighing more than 70 tons, is still leaving experts scratching their heads. Like, how do you even begin stacking that much stone with ancient tech? One leading theory? Massive ramps. Some say they built a straight one. Others think it spiraled around the pyramid as it rose. And then there's the wild idea that they used counterweighted levers to lift blocks, kind of like a giant seesaw system. Sounds out there, but hey, it could have worked. But get this, these ramps would have had to be almost as long as the pyramid is tall and built with just as much precision. That's like building a whole second pyramid just to build the first one. Wild. There's also evidence they lubricated the sand in front of sleds carrying the stones, making it easier to drag those beasts across the desert. That's ancient engineering at its finest. No machines, just brains, grit, and some clever hacks. So, was it brute strength? Ingenious design? A bit of both? Whatever the method, the fact that the pyramids are still standing, with insane accuracy in layout and alignment, is proof that these builders were way ahead of their time. Ships of the afterlife. Maybe we got it wrong. Maybe the Great Pyramid wasn't just for the dead. Maybe it was built to send them somewhere. A gateway, a dock for the soul to board whatever comes next. Archaeologists have discovered several boat pits around the pyramids, and some of them actually held full-sized dismantled ships. Yeah, the pharaohs were burying luxury boats in the sand, not for show but to sail through the afterlife. That's some elite-level spiritual prep right there. The biggest star of this discovery? The Khufu ship, a massive 144-foot cedar vessel found sealed in a pit beside the Great Pyramid. Built without a single nail and held together by rope lashings, this thing is a straight-up engineering masterpiece. When they reconstructed it, the boat was so pristine, it looked like it could cruise the Nile today. So why bury a boat? Ancient Egyptians believed the pharaoh needed a vessel to journey with the sun god, Ra, through the heavens. These weren't just boats, they were divine rides to eternity. And moving the Khufu ship to the Grand Egyptian Museum? That was a whole operation. Picture moving a 4,600-year-old jigsaw puzzle across Cairo without dropping a piece. Total high-stakes mission. These boat pits prove the pyramids weren't just about stone and status. They were about legacy, belief, and making sure the king's next chapter started with style. Because when you're headed to the afterlife, you better roll up in something that slaps. Afterlife code cracked. Deep inside the walls of some of the oldest pyramids, archaeologists uncovered something absolutely next level: the pyramid texts. These aren't just random carvings. This is the earliest religious writing in human history, and it's loaded with cosmic power. Over 4,300 years ago, priests were chiseling out spells, chants, and sacred instructions to guide pharaohs through the afterlife. Not a joke. These texts were their cheat codes for eternity. Forget treasure. This was the real key to divine transformation. Each line of text was like a spiritual blueprint. They showed the king how to rise from the tomb, pass through celestial gates, ride with Ra in the solar boat, and straight up become a god. Yeah, this wasn't some chill ghost story. This was an epic, star-powered rebirth mission. And get this, the pyramid texts weren't written for the living. These messages were hidden inside the burial chambers, meant for the pharaoh and the gods alone. Secret knowledge, carved in stone, meant to last forever. They laid the foundation for all the sacred texts that followed. The coffin texts, the Book of the Dead, all of it starts here. So here's the real deal. These inscriptions weren't just words. They were ancient tech, encoded with the deepest secrets of the soul, the stars, and the divine path beyond death. The Great Pyramid was a gateway. And the pyramid texts? They were the manual for immortality, the Queen's Pyramids. We all know the spotlights on the Great Pyramid, but let's not sleep on the subsidiary pyramids right next to it. These smaller stone giants? They've got their own stories to tell. Lining the east and south sides of the main pyramids at Giza, you'll spot these compact pyramids, often overlooked by tourists, but absolutely key to understanding how the ancient Egyptians rolled. These structures were built for queens, royal wives, and elite family members, because royalty didn't travel to the afterlife alone. Each smaller pyramid had its own chapel, burial shaft, and ceremonial function. These weren't mini side projects, they were full-on sacred tombs. Think of them like VIP suites in the afterlife, sitting next to the pharaoh's penthouse. And here's the cool part, some of these queens weren't just arm candy. They held serious power, and their pyramids prove it. They were honored with their own sacred spaces, aligned with cosmic principles, and carefully planned into the grand layout of the Giza complex. Archaeologists have explored many of these pyramids, uncovering tombs, offerings, and inscriptions that give us insight into the royal family dynamic. Basically, ancient Egypt's version of behind-the-scenes royalty. So while the main pyramids dominate the skyline, these smaller ones? They're doing big work in the background, preserving the legacy of queens who stood beside the pharaohs, both in life and in death. Big story, small footprint, and a whole lot of history in every block. Mystery of the shafts. Call them air shafts if you want. But when multiple channels aim at specific stars, you start to wonder. Were they guiding spirits? Signaling someone? Or hiding something no one's figured out yet? At first glance, these shafts look like ventilation channels. Tiny passages only about 8 inches wide, stretching from the inner chambers all the way toward the outer walls. But get this, they don't even break through the surface. So how are they supposed to bring in fresh air? Kinda sus, right? Some experts think they were never meant for ventilation at all. Instead, these shafts might have had a cosmic purpose. 2 of them align almost perfectly with stars, Orion's Belt and Sirius, major players in Egyptian afterlife beliefs. That's not a coincidence. That's a design choice. Other theories go even deeper. Some believe the shafts acted like spiritual channels, guiding the pharaoh's soul to the heavens. One shaft even leads to a mysterious sealed door with metal handles. Like, what's behind that thing? Robotic probes have been sent inside, revealing hidden chambers, stone blocks, and oddly placed carvings. It's like the deeper we go, the weirder it gets. Ventilation? Maybe. Symbolic star tunnels? Possibly. Secret passageways to unknown rooms? Now we're talking. So, what are these shafts really for? Engineering, religion, or something way more advanced? Whatever the answer is, one thing's for sure. These tiny tunnels are hiding big secrets. Graffiti from the builders. Not all history is grand. Inside the Great Pyramid, hidden behind polished stone, are scribbles. Graffiti from the laborers who hauled every block. A quiet reminder. This wasn't magic. It was work. Hidden inside chambers never meant for the public eye, archaeologists found rough red-painted inscriptions, squad names, work gangs, even jokes. One group literally called themselves the Friends of Khufu. Yeah, like a construction crew, repping the pharaoh on site. That's legendary. This graffiti wasn't meant for tourists or kings. It was for them. It showed pride, identity, and serious team spirit. These weren't slaves. These were skilled laborers, organized into rotating crews, working with precision and purpose. Some of the markings helped coordinate block placement or track progress. Others? Straight-up shout-outs from ancient workers flexing their hustle. It's like tagging your name on a steel beam in a skyscraper today, just way older and in hieroglyphs. The fact that these markings are still visible today sends a clear message from the past, proof that the builders took pride in their work and wanted it remembered. So while the pharaohs get the glory, the real builders left behind proof of who actually stacked those stones, and they did it with pride. Ancient graffiti, raw, real, and absolutely priceless. Gleaming giants revealed. What we see today is the skeleton. The Great Pyramid once had skin, smooth, white, radiant. At sunrise, it didn't just sit on the horizon. It lit it up. Recent studies into the pyramid's original casing stones show that this massive monument was once covered in smooth, white Tura limestone. When the sun hit it, boom! It reflected light so brightly that some ancient texts said it could be seen from miles away. Like the whole thing literally glowed. These polished stones fit together so perfectly, they created a slick, flat surface from top to bottom. No steps, no rough edges, just a seamless white giant glistening under the Egyptian sun. Honestly, it probably looked like something dropped straight out of the heavens. So what happened? Over time, earthquakes and looting stripped the casing stones away. Some were taken for other buildings in Cairo. Today, only a few original pieces survive, some at the base, others in museums. But those fragments? They're enough to prove this thing was once the ultimate flex in ancient architecture. Envision seeing that pristine white pyramid glowing on the horizon. It wasn't just a tomb, it was a beacon, a power move, and a cosmic symbol all in one. So yeah, the Great Pyramid still stuns us today. But in its prime? It was straight up blinding. Treasures beneath the sands. People think it's just the pyramid and some dunes, right? Nah, the place was a full-on necropolis. Dozens of tombs, priceless artifacts, and ancient lives buried all around it. Archaeologists have uncovered a 4,500-year-old burial site near the Giza pyramids, loaded with pottery, jewelry, tools, and even inscriptions. These aren't just random leftovers. These artifacts are opening a window into how the Egyptians buried their dead and honored them in the afterlife. We're talking handcrafted amulets, decorated jars, and finely detailed statues buried alongside tombs of workers, officials, and craftsmen. It shows that even those who weren't royalty still received deeply symbolic and carefully prepared burials. And the location? Right near the pyramids. That close proximity meant status. Being buried near the king wasn't just an honor. It was believed to offer eternal protection. Yeah, even in the afterlife, it was all about location, location, location. These finds also prove how much effort went into every burial. From personalized items to ritual objects, they weren't just laying bodies to rest. They were sending souls off in style. Solid as stone. Think ancient equals primitive? Think again. The Egyptians were out here moving 80-ton blocks with zero modern tech, aligning their pyramid to true north with freakish accuracy. That's not luck. That's engineering genius. Modern studies on the subsidence, that's the slow sinking or shifting of a structure, of the Great Pyramid reveal just how rock-solid this thing really is. Researchers have analyzed the foundation's movement over time, and surprise, surprise, it's held up like a champ for over 4,500 years. The secret? It's all in the planning. The builders didn't just throw giant stones on some random patch of desert. Nah, they leveled the bedrock with insane precision, making sure the foundation was flat, stable, and ready to hold millions of tons of limestone and granite. We're talking accuracy down to less than an inch across the entire base. That's wild, even by today's standards. And even with minor shifts due to natural settling, earthquakes, and centuries of weathering, the structure is still standing strong. Zero collapse, no major tilting, just pure architectural flex. These foundation studies aren't just cool. They prove that ancient engineers understood load distribution, geological conditions, and long-term stability way better than most people give them credit for. So yeah, while we're out here fixing potholes every spring, the Great Pyramid is still sitting pretty, like a 4,500-year-old middle finger to time itself. Sealed secrets inside. More secrets? Of course. Buried in the pyramid's guts are mysterious doors. Small stone slabs with metal fittings, leading to who knows where. No keys, no clues, just questions. Using tiny robots, researchers sent high-tech crawlers into the narrow shafts of the Queen's chamber, barely wide enough for a loaf of bread, let alone a person. What did they find at the end? A sealed stone door with two copper handles just sitting there, like it's guarding something legendary. Naturally, scientists were eager to figure out what was behind it. So they built a specialized drill bot, slid it in, and carefully bored through the door without wrecking anything. On the other side, a dark, empty space, and then another stone barrier. It was like the pyramid hit us with a double cliffhanger. Now the big question, what's back there? Is it a hidden chamber? Ancient scrolls? A royal burial stash? Nobody knows, not yet anyway. But this find isn't just about what's behind the door, it's about why it was sealed in the first place. Some experts think the doors were symbolic, part of a spiritual journey the pharaoh's soul had to pass through. Others believe they're hiding real, untouched secrets that have been locked away for over 4,000 years. Either way, this pyramid ain't done talking. And those stone doors? They might just lead to the next big discovery. If these discoveries blew your mind, hit that like button, subscribe for more ancient secrets, and drop your wildest theory in the comments.